Hey, everybody. Oh, good. There it is right there.
Creator challenge.
Yeah, they're notifying viewers that we are live. Yay.
Sweet. Now I gotta
We're really looking forward to this Q&A. We have a couple things we wanted to talk about today, too. Oh, hi, Jenna. Thanks for joining us. Bonnie, thanks for joining us. Ella, Terrorist Oaks, thanks for joining us. We're just going to wait for a few people to log on here. Hi, Teresa, Karen, Whitney. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Jessica.
Jenna.
Nice. Let's see. Hi, Lori. So we are really looking forward to this Q&A tonight. We had a couple of things come up this week that we had heard about in the AUB, and I wanted to talk about them while we were on this live. Hi, Stephanie, Leo, Jetta, Funky Nurse. That's awesome. Sunny. Hi, guys. So yeah,
Katie.
we were just, hi, Katie. Hi. Oh, thank you, Jamie. So we wanted to get just a couple of people. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks, Jamie. So we have a couple of things that that I wanted to talk about that got brought up this last week and in this live, and also answer all you guys' questions too. Because I know everybody, we had so many people register for this live. So thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys have been giving us. It's been amazing.
We put some subscriber on there.
Oh,
Melanie's been getting a ton of questions and trying to keep up with all of them. And so we put a subscriber thing on here, learning how it works, but we wanted to be able to answer those subscribers' questions first. So
yeah. And we're still learning all of this, but the subscriber, we did the lowest fee that TikTok would allow because we didn't really necessarily are doing it for the fee, but we just wanted to be able to answer questions more orderly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you guys want to join on that, we do have a subscriber button. But yeah, there's, Best Grandma. Oh, I love that name. We're recent grandparents too. We love it. So yeah, so we're excited to answer your guys' questions. If you don't know who we are, let's just do a quick intro. We were both born and raised in the AUB. I was born and raised here in Salt Lake, and my father is the current leader / prophet /
my father
owner of it. I don't know what you want to call you. What?
My father-in-law is the same.
Yeah, his father-in-law is the same. And then Cory was born in Utah and raised in Montana on what you would consider the compound.
Priesthood property.
Priesthood property up there
As
in
my
Montana.
mother corrected me.
Yeah.
So,
His mom got a little offended by compound and
not a compound, just priesthood property. Sweet.
yeah. So his mom, has she even watched any of our lives?
I don't know.
No, we were joking about the fact that he was raised on a compound, and she's like, I don't live on a compound. Hoping you're all good, still recovering from Helene. Oh, but doing better than most. Oh, I'm so glad. Our daughter lives in Florida and is relocating to North Carolina, and I'm like really right in the path of all the hurricanes. Worries me every time. I'm glad you're doing okay though. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people didn't do so well through that. I used to work for the airline, and oh man, those were horrible stories that I would hear from people when they would call in to change their flights after stuff like this happened. Thank you. It looks like we're getting a ton of people joining us right now, so thank you. So yeah, so we did set a goal for the subscriptions. We're still learning all of that. We're gonna get that nailed down here pretty soon. So if you are a current subscriber, thank you so much, and please let us know your questions. We're gonna prioritize your questions for sure. Let's see. So one of the things that I wanted to start the live out with that I wanted to talk about, because I just heard this rumor. Lisa Quast, thank you. I just heard this rumor. I wasn't at church when this was publicly announced, so this is just someone filling me in. Yeah, and so, but apparently in the AUB, it was publicly announced that they are discouraging any polygamous men from marrying any of their wives legally because of the ramifications that can happen. Now in Utah, we are a common law married state. So if you live with a woman for a super long time, I think it's 7 years, then you are considered common law married. If you share children together, even if you don't share children together, but there's like certain criteria. So Afton the Ice Queen says she's from Utah. Yay. Yeah, we get a lot of Utah people on here. So that is one of the things. And I know that we're seeing a ton of this online right now because of what's been happening with the Browns and the legal marriages and the not legal marriages. But I must ask you a question. Hi, Mr. Lee. But that is one of the things that has been recently announced. And I think in the state of Utah, we're going to start seeing some lawsuits coming up. And I'm really excited to get behind these lawsuits and support these women, because too many times these women are just thrown out with nothing from a non-Mormon side, but wanting your perspective on the LDS and yeah, nice. Yes, a lot of people are wanting to just get our different perspectives on what it's like. So when we both left the polygamist church, we both joined the Mormon church, the LDS church. So we've both been members of that for a while, but we're not active in any active religion. We've never lived polygamy ourselves, just born and raised and suffered through the trauma of a child in it.
You were married for a little bit.
I actually did get married in the polygamist temple. I got married, and then I got divorced through there, and then Cory and I married each other.
Yep.
So we're not current Mormons. No, we're not currently practicing any religion at all.
Nope.
And a lot of them do fall out of like the polygamous communities and go straight into the Mormon church because it's familiar. It's something that they know. It's something that they, at least that's how it was. And then you've got a whole bunch of family members that
are part of it,
and convince you that it's
a lot of people that left the LDS church to go into the AUB. That's where my family, brothers or father and mother and some of the other mothers left the LDS church and went into the polygamous church. And so when you leave, they go back into kind of where they were from originally.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, somebody says, McKelty Brown, Christine's daughter, was made aware of you on her Patreon and will look you up. Oh, nice. That's awesome. When she sees this, hi, McKelty. I actually grew up with her mom. We went to high school together. Her grandma I called grandma. So yeah, there's a lot of different intertwining connections there. Somebody says, I never belonged, such as different thing here in Utah. Yeah, it is really hard. Our kids were the only kids on the block that were not. Oh, thank you, Ella. Yeah, Ella subscribed. So none of them could play with a lot of the other kids because we were not active in the Mormon church. Thank you so much, Ella Williams. She just subscribed with us. And then I saw another question. Have you ever been concerned about STDs? Well, I never have been, since I have not lived polygamy, but we've watched that happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really scary. Because, sorry, I'm going to adjust that just a little bit. It's really scary because, yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen with that. In my family, I watched that happen. So you'll see something that'll come in like it's never been an issue, and then all of a sudden people have cold sores, and it's just, yeah, it's tough.
That's why they've got doctors.
Yeah, a lot of doctors. McKelty said she was excited to try to find you on here. Oh, good. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, when she sees us, we'll make sure that we say hi to her. I don't know what her TikTok name is or anything like that. I think I follow Christine, Mary, and Janelle, but that's it. I don't know that I follow anyone else. Let's see. The entire house of Israel was born from polygamy, even Jesus through David, Genesis 30. So Paul says that. I don't know if you're pro-polygamist by that comment, but okay. So Ella, we're going to make Ella's questions a priority here. How would the lives of your kids have been different if you had raised them in the AUB? Oh my gosh, they're just even any of the opportunities that they've had. Like my daughter was able to go to college. She actually went to one of the most prestigious colleges. She got a scholarship here in Salt Lake, and then was able to get a scholarship to Disney College out in Florida. She wouldn't have had that opportunity had she have been raised in the AUB. She graduated with her associate's degree before she ever got her high school diploma. And that would not have been probably available to her had I have kept her in the AUB. And then our other daughter, same thing. So, I mean, she is just amazingly intelligent. Go ahead.
A lot of our parenting style has been how we were raised, and we've tried to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Tried not to raise our kids in shame, tried to raise our kids in questioning, thinking, wanting to become educated, wanting to learn more, and not just had one dogma shoved down or preached to them over the pulpit every Sunday. So we've
Right.
changed a lot of the ways that we raised our kids based on the way we were raised. There's some things that we loved about the way we were raised and that we have incorporated in our parenting skills, but yeah, the majority of it we try to do opposite on some of the stuff. So giving them so much more opportunity that the world's a great big place, and
Right.
they can learn just as much out here in the evil world as they
Right.
can within the walls of
Religion.
yeah.
Well, and honestly, my daughter, I mean, I got married 8 days into 17. My daughter just got married at 30. So she had opportunities to create whatever she wanted to in her life that she probably wouldn't have had we have raised her in the other. So somebody says, what does the AUB stand for? It stands for the Apostolic United Brethern. It's a polygamist cult here in Salt Lake City. It's mostly known for the Browns on Sister Wives. It's the same church that they came from.
Polygamist corporation.
Oh yeah.
The other C word.
The other C word, yeah. Let's see. Hi kids, love you both. Your sister, and so apparently I have a couple sisters and my mom watching, so I will be as truthful as I can, which I always feel like I am anyways,
I'll be on
but
my toes.
yeah. And so they are actually a corporation. They did lose their religious status. So they are now a corporation. They're no longer an active church. LDS Church, the only church that teaches free agency. So that's a lie that the church teaches otherwise. Oh, I don't know that the church, maybe the LDS Church teaches that, but the polygamist church sure didn't teach that.
Teach what?
That you have free agency.
Well, they all teach it. It's all part of their curriculum. Do they actually believe it?
Yeah.
That's the other question. So
Yeah.
you have free agency to do what we tell you to do. And if you want to get to heaven, this is the route. And well, wait a minute. Is it really the route? Is that where we're going? And the questions are changed. So
Right. So I thought that was interesting this week. Okay, Ellis, well, I'll come right back to that. Ellis says, how do the lives of the Browns on TV compare to a typical AUB family? I feel like what the truthfulness of how that family was in the first season. Mm-hmm. Then, and you see the way that they are with each other. You see the way that they talk to each other. That's the truthfulness of how most polygamous families are.
they were all in the same house. So you see the kids running around in there. That's how we grew up. That's how there was mothers and kids all in the same house, running around, having fun, eating food, doing stuff like that. So
thanks, Lizzie Tish.
She grew up partially with that, with some of the family members living in the same house at times, but
yeah, we all had separate houses until I was 16, and then we doubled up into combined houses when I was 16. What'd you say?
Free agency unless you want exaltation.
Yes, I agree with that. Thank you, Rach Elf. That's true. You have free agency unless you want to be exalted, and then you have to do exactly what you're told. Okay, let's see. I heard, oh shoot, that went by too fast. I heard that there's a huge opioid problem in the Mormon communities. I would absolutely agree with that. There's a YouTube, I think it's on YouTube, maybe Netflix, a show called Happy Valley, and you can check that out. There is a huge problem, I think, and I think a lot of it prescription,
opioids,
and no shame in if you need to take antidepressants or anything like that. Oh, thanks, William. Thanks, William, for subscribing.
Thank you.
No shame in any of that, but sometimes it can get taken to an extent. And I think in Utah, there's such a huge expectation to be so perfect that they get lost in this. And then and thank you, Mary, and it's unattainable And so then you're living in shame all the time because you're not perfect like all your neighbors are, and they're not either. Thank you, Mary. So yeah, I believe that there is a huge opioid, and thank you, Kelly. And if you look at that show on, I believe it's on Netflix, called Happy Valley. Let's see. Let me come through. In my experience, the vanilla LDS allows for agency unless you don't use it right. Yeah. I'm not even going to debate LDS policies at all because I really don't know. We've been out of it.
Yeah, to be honest, when I came out of the AUB, I had family that was part of the LDS. I went over there and was going to church for probably 6 months to a year, and it was too familiar. It was too much like what I'd grown up in.
Yeah.
And so I just, at that point, church changed for me.
Yeah.
I went fishing on weekends. So
yeah, that was our
and hung
church,
out. That
taking
was
our kids
church,
fishing.
Taking our kids doing stuff and spending time together.
Yeah.
So no more being cooped up in a
Right.
church. We're going out into nature.
Yeah, so we have a couple of people that are helping us moderate. So I'm just going to tell them really quick. Make sure that anyone who's subscribed always gets their questions popped first. Somebody says, why did your mom leave your dad? Oh my gosh, that's a really long time. Hey, Mom. And my mom's watching. So yeah, that's a really long question. I've been asking her to leave my dad, I think most of her kids, for the last 20 years. And finally, she did it just because, yeah, a whole lot of stuff. It's, 30, 40, 50 years of just being treated subpar. And it's really frustrating to watch. My mom has always been treated, in her words, as the help, which I absolutely agree. She's been treated as the help. She's the one that's always worked hard. She's the one that's always been the financial, and there's princess wives, and my mom was not one of those wives. So let's see. And my sister says, because she finally learned her worth. And that's a really good answer. She finally learned her worth. And so it's a shame you have to conform and to perform to be accepted in religions. Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that. Did you leave the AUB together? We didn't. No, I was actually still married to my ex-husband when Cory left and got baptized in. So you were a member for what, like 4 or 5 years before I was? Something like that?
Probably, yeah. Probably for 5 years.
Yeah. And then when I left, I actually had to meet with all the higher ups in the LDS church. I had to meet with some apostles because I had been married in the polygamist group already and gone through their temple ceremony. So I had to go back in there and have because sometimes they'll have people come in and they're not intending to actually be a member of the church. They just want to find out all the secrets. And so what are your thoughts on Brady Williams from My 5 Wives? They seem happy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of Brady's wives were actually some of my very best friends growing up. And I love those girls. That is really a good family. I'm
impressed that when they decided to leave AUB, they all went together. That's awesome.
Yeah, because that's really uncommon.
It is.
So that says a lot about Brady, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Brady and the ladies.
Because when a man leaves and starts questioning like that, the women are all told that they have to get a release or a divorce from him in order to keep their eternal salvation. And Lizzie Tish subscribed for the first time. Thanks, Lizzie Tish. Yeah. Appreciate that.
And they've kept it together. They've kept their family together even through the changes. So
that says a lot about Brady as a human. Yeah. I didn't know Brady a lot. He joined the polygamist church when I think I was like 15 or something like that, 14 or 15. But my very best friend married Brady's dad. So my very best friend growing up did. What is Cody like? I haven't been around Cody for 20 years or so. And I think that what you see on TV is probably pretty accurate, if I'm going to be real honest. Did you read Under the Banner of Heaven? We didn't read it, but we watched the show though. Again, My 5 Wives. Yes, a lot of people are so curious of My 5 Wives because they really are a great family. One of his wives was my midwife and helped deliver our daughter that just moved out. And somebody did ask about that. Thank you so much. The last live, our daughter was getting ready to move out that night. And it's been an emotional week for us. So we've had puffy, swollen eyes and we're so happy for her. She's almost 22, so she's more than adequately equipped to move out. But we built this house while I was pregnant with her and moved in 8 days after 8 days after we moved in here, she was born.
Yeah.
And so, somebody says Happy Valley is on Amazon Prime. Yeah, so take a look at that if you want to watch that. Happy Valley. It talks about the opioid problems here in Utah. Not even just opioids, antidepressants, you name it, and it goes over that. And that it's pretty crazy. Let's see. Have you forgiven those that have done you both harm?
Nobody.
Yeah, I didn't really feel like I needed to do a lot of forgiving. Yeah. I think with my dad, like my parents have probably, sorry mom, but my parents have probably been the main thing that I've had to work through. But I guess when I left there, I had some shunning, and it was really hard because then they came out public, and
those people that you would
for
say
me.
did me harm, who might have,
yeah,
there was nothing to forgive. They guided me down a path that got me away from the AUB, away from polygamy, some of those things that some people would call harm were the best things that ever happened into my life.
Yeah.
They opened my eyes up to how amazing this world is and how many amazing human beings there are out there.
Yeah.
So,
and we wouldn't have known that if we hadn't have been treated.
Everybody outside the AUB was probably Gentiles and stuff like that, and weren't going to make it to heaven. And so we're like, what? And then all of a sudden I get out into the world and I'm like, these people are a lot nicer than I was told.
And they don't have
they're
horns.
A lot nicer
Than the people that
than
we
the
know.
people we're hanging out with.
Yeah, and so that is another thing that I wanted. Thank you, William. That was somebody says the outdoors in Utah can be your church.
It is.
Amen.
It's the best church.
And that's what we feel like we've always tried to do with our kids.
Yeah.
We take them. Another thing. What was the name of the Netflix show? It's called Happy Valley, and it's on Amazon Prime. And it really goes into some detail. I'm glad that her move went well. I asked her if it went well. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, she's adorable, and her boyfriend is the cutest little thing ever, and he just adores her, and I love that.
Not the cutest little thing. He's a big, strong man. He's awesome.
Somebody says, what's the AUB? The Apostolic United Brethern. It's a polygamist corporation here in Salt Lake.
Should we introduce ourselves again?
I guess we can introduce ourselves because we've got a lot more people on. Go ahead, you can start.
No, you're good. I'm Cory. I grew up in the AUB, born down here in Utah, but we moved when I was young up to Montana, up on some priesthood property up in Montana, and I grew up in, what was it called? Priesthood property in
Not a compound.
Not a compound with.
It was a compound.
Yeah, with my dad.
Thanks, Jackie. Thank you.
He had 9 wives and about 26 children, all in 2 little houses, or a great big house and a little house next to each other. So we knew all of our brothers and sisters growing up. So and I've got some sisters on here.
Yeah.
So hi, sisters, and and Melanie grew up down here in Utah.
Yeah,
So.
my dad's the current leader prophet of the AUB. Somebody says, what percentage of couples, or Ella says, what percentage of couples are monogamous for life in the AUB? There's probably, I would say maybe 10%. I think there's actually a good percentage of them that stay.
Well, are you saying that stay there and
as monogamous? Yeah, they never
okay.
get another wife. We've seen that a lot. I've seen that a lot. I've been surprised, to be honest. And I don't think it's lack of trying. I think it's just sometimes it's just not, they just don't ever, they love the community and the belonging, the sense of belonging that they feel like they receive, but they just don't want to live those. How hard would it be to take down a church that causes harm to their members? I mean, I don't know. I guess you see that all over United States. You'll see somebody, gosh, what was that one that we just watched? We just watched a special where they went in and were trying to take down that church, but it had become too big. I don't know. Why are there not plural husbands? Because men cannot have babies. And so you want a baby?
No, you're saying that.
But how do you say that on the...
Why are there not plural husbands?
Yeah, why are there not plural husbands? That's the question.
Right.
And it's because men cannot have babies. They cannot reproduce. It would be illogical at that point.
Because you're supposed to be building up the kingdom of heaven.
You're supposed to be building the kingdom of heaven with the most righteous children. And if you have one wife and multiple husbands, that wife can only produce a child so many times before it. And so then you're not raising a righteous seed or producing a bunch of babies. So
and husbands are the priesthood holders, and that's a lot of priesthood in one house. Your muffs.
That's a lot of priesthood in one house. I don't know if I'd even want to do that. Hello, first time here. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us, Debbie. Appreciate that. Let's see. It was definitely a compound. I was there. Corey's sister said it was definitely a compound. It was a compound. It really was. It's up in Montana.
She's talking about compound with big fences and all of that stuff. Yeah, you can drive in, you can sneak in. So.
I'm sorry you think 10% is a lot. Because it's not really a lot, and I understand why you would think that, but it is because of how pushed that religion is.
Yeah.
And if you're not conforming to that, then are you really a part of the religion? So if you stand out as a monogamous couple, then
most monogamous couples up there, they're after a time they're not part of the AUB. So
yeah.
They leave. They don't want to get another wife, things like that, and so they'll leave because they are getting pressure to get another one.
Yeah. Then the women wouldn't know who the father of the children were. Yeah, that's true too. If there was multiple men, you wouldn't know which one was your dad. So, but with a woman, you're always going to know which one.
Still don't.
Yeah. Building it up by leading the people to Christ, not by having children. That would be a good concept. I agree with you, Misty, and that's not always the way that it is. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the 20 missing kids, all FLDS? Thanks, see you in a bit. That I just heard about that today, and I haven't even looked into that. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with that, and I apologize. I haven't had a chance to even look into that. Apparently there's 20 missing FLDS kids. Are they from the Samuel Bateman section? I don't know. But I'll look that up after we're done here. I just haven't had a chance to do that.
And I'm being flippant about the priesthood. I'm a jokester. So some of the stuff I say can be taken.
Yeah.
But I'm a jokester, I tell.
What about the person in the Bible that says the husband should be the husband to one wife? Yeah, there's so much debate back and forth about scriptural stuff. And I am not a scriptural scholar by any means. I'm not even a church scholar by any means.
I play one on TV, and you can read in the Bible people who are pro-polygamy and people who are not polygamy.
Yeah.
So there's so many different verses, and those who want to be polygamists, grab all of the polygamist information out of the Bible to justify their belief. Those who don't, because it's headache and hell on earth, can justify that and find that reasons why you should be one man, one wife. So
right. The blind kitty says, is there jealousy between the wives? Absolutely. I mean, I've seen some full-on abuse, like one wife getting jealous of another wife and going in there and just, I don't know how deep I want to get on that subject.
I don't want to tell the stories.
I know, because they can be very
watching.
aggressive in, especially. Okay, I'll just tell you one story. One wife was in there being intimate with the husband. The other wife overheard it. She went in there and caused a huge scene in front of 2 naked people. So there you go. So thank you, Kelly.
It was like a ninja war. So,
why?
I don't know, naked ninja war. They've got the music going. There's got to be something exciting as you put it in your head as one wife's beating up on another wife. So.
Yeah, no, it's not a ninja war. Okay, so Misty says, skip over the truth of multiple wives being in the Old Testament. I see how that works. It could be in the Old Testament. I'm not a scholar, but I just feel like if you want to find anything to justify your position in a religion, you'll find it in the Bible. You'll find whatever verse you need to find to make that happen for you. That's all I'm saying about it.
Well, I don't know. To be honest, we studied as I grew up, I studied quite a bit of the Book of Mormon, and then kind of deleted a lot of that information.
Right.
And so did a little bit of studying on the Bible, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a scriptural scholar at all. I apologize. I just was born and raised in a cult, and I play one on a live here and there. I heard that the Warren Jeffs has not allowed married couples to have kids. Is that true? I don't know. That very well could be true. I have no idea. I don't know that much about the FLDS, other than they used to be one group with the AUB, and then there was a split, and then the FLDS went one direction and the AUB went another direction. Other than that, I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, and then she's saying that if you know your Bible at all, which
you do.
I know a little bit. Yes, the Old Testament was probably more towards the polygamy part of it. The New Testament's absolutely not. It's more about Christ.
Right. Yes, Jess says, like high school with grown folks. That's exactly what it's like. It really is. And especially, I think, too, it's way better when wives don't live together and they're across town from each other, when they can't see what's happening with the husband. Because when you can look out the window and you see what your husband's doing, bad business. Yeah.
Can a wife who is released from a marriage stay in the AUB, or is she excommunicated? Yeah, she stays in the AUB, especially if she's getting a release from... If she gets the release from it, then she should be liable or able to remarry somebody within the AUB.
Yeah. If she's not the one at fault or anything like that, or she doesn't have to go through a process to get reinstated, then yes, she can get remarried in the AUB. It happens all the time. In fact, out of my dad's 8 wives, 4 of them have been married to someone else. So,
yeah, and to be honest, the rules on the excommunication, the rules on being released, honestly depend on who you are and who's in charge.
It's true. The AUB makes up their own rules as they go along. It changes
all the time, and so they want to say, nope, we're solid in this, but it's unique for each different person, each different family, each different person. Some people can get released and remarried. Some people can't.
Yeah.
Some people can get excommunicated for one thing, and another person won't get excommunicated for that.
My mom says, amen, never live close together. Yeah, I think that was the downfall of my dad and his family, was that they all moved together on a compound. Thank you, Big Maggie. And I think that was just too hard. It was like they all started over when they were in their 60s. And it's like they all just had to try learning how to live polygamy all over again, because now they all live together on a little compound. I'm sorry I missed that last question and it went over. When you were in the AUB, did you ever meet the FLDS or what other groups, or did they stay apart? Yeah, sometimes they did, especially because my mom had a local health food store. And so everyone shopped there. So we would meet a lot of the other groups. I just don't know a lot about their policies or what they do. And I don't know a lot about...
Well, when we were younger too, because Warren Jeffs wasn't in charge of it when we went down to visit.
Thank you, Sunny. Sunny just subscribed to us as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Lindsay says, are marriages arranged in the AUB? And if so, by who? They're not typically arranged, but they can be very much coerced into, this one's a good idea, don't you think?
Motivated.
They can, but do they actually arrange them and pick you up and walk you down the aisle? No, not necessarily, but they are strongly encouraged in some situations.
I think what the arrangement would be some man putting dibs on a girl, girl.
And that happened.
Dibs on her. Yeah. Oh, I put a dib on her.
And I actually did a couple TikToks on that, where women are property, and that is exactly, I 100% believe that. You start getting dibs on you. Well, I did when I was 12. And people would go up to my dad, when she's ready, I want to have the first shot at her. When she's ready, I want to have the first shot at her. So see, that's another thing. My daughters would not have had the opportunity in so many places because of that. And so, these old men in their 30s, which is not old, but when you're 12, it's old, are coming and putting their dibs on you when you're 12. Did you ever interact with any of the other Kingston's groups? Yeah, we've known quite a few of them.
Again, this is when I was a lot younger. But yeah, we went out to a dance at one of the Kingston get-togethers.
Yeah.
And met some people out there. So.
Yeah. So let's see. How do they afford all the wives and the kids? Do they get government assistance? I think it depends on the family. To be honest, it's not necessarily. It's not taught or preached. I don't think for you to go get on government assistance. I think it just depends on the family.
Yeah, with my dad, ex-military, had a retirement. One of his wives was also ex-military, had a retirement. There were 2 other women that were his wives that had incomes too, and then some of the wives worked. So and then we were all in one house, so we didn't have. Well, we were in 2 houses on
a compound.
On
we're just gonna laugh about that all night.
And so, and we farmed. We grew most of our food.
Yeah.
There was very little that we bought.
Thank you, Jody Lynn. Jody Lynn just subscribed. Thank you.
We grew up on a farm, and we raised most of our own food. Probably the healthiest I've eaten in my whole life.
I know. So. And then you moved to Utah and eat shit food.
Yep.
My sister says 5 of my dad's wives have been married before. 3 were only married to my dad first. That's right. So his first 3 wives, my mom was the second wife. So the first 3 of his wives were the only wives that had not been married to someone else.
Hey, Katie, do that math for me.
Did you ever interact? Oh, yeah, we already answered that question. What do you think of the Brown family? That's a pretty broad question. Some of the Brown family, I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud to see who they are and how they've, grown throughout the seasons. We haven't watched a lot of Sister Wives. We watched the first year or 2, and then it just got to be, I'd just be yelling at the TV, and because it gives you a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah.
But
started watching again. I knew some of them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I did too. I grew up with them, so I knew them pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think? Oh, I think each person that reads the Bible will take it differently, even though it is the same words. I agree. It's completely your interpretation of what you want it to be. Let's see, Kingston Group. Thank you. I couldn't remember what it was called. Yeah, Kingston's. Take it as literature. Let's see. Have you ever reported any of these underage marriages or relationships? Well, in the state of Utah, I believe it's 14 you can get married at. And they're with parental consent. Is it 16? It might be. Oh, thank you, HBIC. Thank you. So 16, thank you again, is the consenting age with parental consent. So I was 8 days into 17 when I got married. And so I have known of stories of other people that have gotten married extremely young. But I don't know anybody personally. As far as I know, I'm the youngest person that I know of that has gotten married in the AUB.
Yeah, and I didn't know anybody that, I personally didn't know anybody who had got married. If they were going to marry somebody young, it wasn't being announced over the pulpit. It was rumor, if you will. And it was rumor as we grew up, and to be honest, the people my age, the kids my age were getting married probably at 17, the last year of school. So
well, and when they get a lot older, then it doesn't matter. Should I tell that story about my dad? My dad's last wife. He came to me and said, "I'm going to get married again." And how he started the conversation was, "She's older than my oldest child." And we both sat there with a deer, like, what? This is not going to end well. Okay, thanks, Dad. So as you get older, it's not as, have you caught the Judge Judy with the Plig family? It's worth watching. I haven't. I have never seen that. I have to look at that. Okay. Let me see.
How do you subscribe? I don't know. There should be a subscription button somewhere on here.
My sister says yes.
Oh, down at the bottom.
Yeah, she's very happy that I just shared that story. That was really hard. That was a really hard night because, that, when you start out a conversation, hey, I'm going to get married again, and she's older than my oldest child, that never sounds good, does it? So Let's see. And she says,
So many stories.
yeah, no, tell the story of who she really was. Yeah, we'll get into that in the later lives. Not quite this soon. But yeah, another one of the things that I wanted to talk about, apparently, and I don't know how true this is just the rumor mill that has come to me over the last week. The AUB is really starting to crack down on their youth and allowing their youth to do things outside of the religion. And so that's been kind of interesting to listen to. I just had somebody reach out and just say, hey, what is your dad doing? Why is he cracking down on this? It used to be that you could come and go to church as you wanted to, and now it's very restrictive. You have to have a testimony a temple recommend in order to go to their church. So you can't even go into church at all.
I know. It used to be if you were going to go into their endowment house, then that's when you'd go through the process to get that temple recommend.
Right.
Now it's just to enter property that's your church house, all that stuff. And it's again rumor, but
Yeah.
Talking to some of my family that had been a part of it, to some of the questions were, do you support the current leaders of the church? Well, no, I don't. Well, then you can't come on property. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's been a little bit interesting. And so there is a lot of people who are saying that the AUB is starting to turn into very restrictive rules like that. Somebody says, so do they send these teens off for a year to go door to door? No. If there's any proselyting that happens in the AUB, it's typically older people that will go.
Mm-hmm.
When the AUB first started, Cory's dad was one of those people. And he would go out and recruit people. And so Cory's dad was actually baptized into the polygamist community by Christine's grandpa. He was the one who started AUB. And then he was baptized into the community by Rulin Allred, and then his dad actually baptized my dad into the community. Do you or did you know Robin's first husband? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. He grew up on the compound up there in Montana, along with Cory and Robin. Robin grew up down the street from Cory, and so they lived in a trailer down the street for I don't even know how long time, huh? I can't remember what your mom said. But yeah, they've been down there for a while until her mom moved her to southern Utah. But yeah, and so they are on there like LDS missionaries. Yeah, they don't have really any missionaries at all in the AUB. Somebody says, so glad to catch you all live. Thanks, Brittany. Welcome. So one of the things I kind of wanted to hit on a little bit, what's the documentary you're all talking about, called Happy Valley? It's about the drug and opioid crisis, addiction, whatever, in Utah that happens between a lot of the Mormons.
Trying to be perfect.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to talk about on this live too, because we're seeing this happen so much, especially on the Sister Wives show, is the isolation from the dad with the children. And that's been one thing that's been kind of heavy on my mind this week, because I just turned 50 a couple of months ago. And my dad, I pulled away from my dad a lot because, my brother passed last year, and he has I felt then very insensitive. My brother was disabled, and I felt like my dad has been extremely insensitive about what happened. So I've pulled back from my dad. And then of course, doing my podcast and stuff, he's pulled back a little bit more from me. But it's been, thank you, Afton. But one of the things, I just turned 50 a couple months ago, I got nothing. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a text. My dad's usually texting me or calling me at 12:01 a.m. to be the very first person to acknowledge that. And so that's been a little bit rough this last week. And, his birthday was this week too. And I didn't reach out, but someone else did and I love you so much, son. You're an amazing son.
I am a cool guy.
You are a cool guy, but it's been hard. And so that is one of the things that I feel like these AUB men do in the shunning part. I can't speak for any other group, just AUB, because that's where I grew up. But I feel like it's very prominent in that group to just disregard your children. And so when we watch the show Sister Wives, that is the hardest part for us, is to watch how he talks about his kids. It was told to me this week that my dad's been watching some of my stuff, and he doesn't stop to say, I wonder why she feels that way or anything like that. His bottom line is, she's a liar. She's a liar. Don't watch any of her stuff. She's a liar. And that is really, like, that's been hard on my heart this week, to be honest, because both of us have tried to be as truthful as we know how to be on our lives, on our podcasts, everything that we do. And 99% of the people are like, oh my gosh, you guys hit that spot on. You guys nailed that. That's exactly how it was. And then to hear feedback saying, she's a liar, don't listen to anything she says, has been a little heavy on my heart. And so, no, I didn't reach out to him for his birthday either. Cory did, because he's got something on your nose. But,
so rude. Whatever.
Did any of your siblings stay in the AUB? I had 4 siblings stay in there that I'm aware of right now. Some just still go to church, but they're not a part of anything.
I think I have 3 AUB or siblings in there, so
yeah.
And I get along great with all of my family still within the AUB, so really
and I do too.
Them, so
some of the wives,
we just believe different.
Yeah, some of the wives aren't as nice to me that are married to my brothers, but that they're not mean either. They're just not nice,
As a golden child, all of my mothers love me.
Ella says, why do you think Cody went from a happy-go-lucky to so angry? Oh gosh, that's a hard one, because I mean, if you had to go back and you had to rewatch your life and everything you've ever messed up on, that's a hard one, and I think too, brown nose, yeah, I would be angry too. He's angry too because they come from a society where the men are the center focal point of the family. They're God in the family.
And he demands loyalty. And when there aren't people that are following every word and have removed that loyalty because it needs to be earned,
right?
Then he's angry now. He's angry.
He feels disrespected, and you don't disrespect a priesthood holder.
How many siblings do I have? Dang it. That's a lot.
27.
Yeah, so
it's 27 that you were
biologically.
Yeah, the thing is your dad will marry women who have, I don't ever go into all that explanation because there's just too many.
About 27 kids in the same house at the same time. Yeah. With 10 adults raising all of us.
Yeah. Let's see. And so honestly, back to Ella's question really quick too. I really feel like, he's made some serious mistakes, and they're coming home to roost right now. And it's all being publicized for national and international television. And that's not, I mean, I wouldn't want to watch that either. Did you ever meet Wynn and Janelle or Cody's nephew, Benjamin? Yeah, Ben and I actually have been chatting back and forth. And yeah, I went up to the ranch twice back in the day. So yeah, I did meet them.
My little sister has, who's on here.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Reality TV has split up many marriages. Yeah, I would never do it. Not at all. I would never do, especially this lifestyle is already so hard. And then you have to watch your husband be intimate on TV, or you have to watch your husband. I will never let this one go because it still makes me so angry. You have to watch your husband go on an 11-day honeymoon. Who does that to their family? But he can't leave his littlest one for 2 or 3 days. It makes no sense to me. And as you're the wife sitting at home and you are watching this, so blessed. Thank you. Yeah, thank goodness it is Friday, huh? Yeah, and so I can imagine. And so Robin says, Cody's cruel. My guess is he will eventually treat Robin the same way. He is an abuser, in my opinion. I would agree with that. Those women are wonderful. Christine was wonderful growing up. Mary was wonderful. I didn't know Janelle that well. I didn't know her until she actually married Cody. I knew her ex-husband, but I didn't know her very well. I'd never met her until she showed up for church. Let's see. None of our mom's kids have, but yes, some of the other. Yeah, none of my mom. So my mom had 11 children, and none of my mom's children have lived polygamy. I'm the only one that was married that way and then got divorced that way, and we came close. We courted a couple of girls. But we never actually.
Her and her ex-husband.
My ex-husband, yeah.
I've
And
never
then I was
courted any
divorced.
of the other people.
Thanks, babe. Just me, huh?
Well, yeah.
So how many sister wives do you have? Nothing. No, none. So yeah. We didn't go for his daughter's surgery. Lost all respect for him. Absolutely. Jody Lynn, thank you.
Well,
she's one of our subscribers too. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Jody. Yeah, when you're sitting there and say family is the most important.
Thank you.
And then it's like, okay, which family's the most important?
Yeah.
It's not Christine or her children that are important. So he might say family's the most important thing to him, but what he's meaning is Robin's family is the most important thing to him.
Yeah.
And that's evident in his actions.
And that's disgusting. It's so hard. That was really hard, a couple of scenes to watch.
Yeah.
William says his father had 60 siblings. We know a lot of Barlows here locally, and that is crazy. Yeah, she woke up after surgery wanting to see him. Yeah, she did, Isabel. And that was so heart-wrenching to watch that whole scenario. Somebody says Adam Barber, I think that was Janelle's. Yeah, that was Janelle's ex-husband. And he did pass away last year. Yep, he did. Let's see, I want to make sure we're getting some of these questions. Somebody says, I would go crazy. Yeah, why do you think these men, that is probably one of the reasons why, Cody. And honestly, when you are picked apart online and social media, and that every time you get online, you're like the most hated person in America, it feels like. I think that would make me pretty angry too. Let's see, would you stay in Mary's...
He's angry too. Sorry, this is my 2 cents worth. I think he's angry because he's got 3 ex-wives that are way funnier than he is. They got such a way better sense of humor, and it sucked playing third fiddle. So.
Oh my gosh, I am all here for this new Mary. She is so hilarious. When she did that extra gum thing and threw it in the trash. Gosh. Oh my gosh, we were dying.
She's a genius.
Complete genius.
Mary.
Yeah, it was so funny. Would you stay at Mary's Airbnb? Yeah, absolutely I would if I ever went down that way. What is a typical courtship like? Cody drove to Robin's most weekends, seemingly staying overnight. Yeah, we don't know about that other than just what we saw on TV. That would not be normally okay. I know he took his daughters as supposed chaperones, but what are you going to do? Go in and tell your dad that's inappropriate behavior? You're not going to do that. And so that's not normally, when my ex-husband and I were courting a girl, we would just go to things like dance, like we'd go to a dance or something. And then afterwards we went and got ice cream. And then one time, then she turned 17 while we were dating, because that's an awesome age to start a second wife, is at 16. So she turned 17 and I made him go buy her roses. So
such a good first wife.
I know. I'm such a good first wife. I was very predatory. And that's another reason I had to get my children out of that, is because it is so predatory. She was 16, I was 18, and he was 26. What's the typical, I already did that one. Who decides to divorce? I would imagine that women get to make a lot of the choices. Well, that's a good imagination, Nikki, because I don't think a lot of women get to make a lot of choices in polygamy, in my personal opinion. But they always say that it's supposed to be the woman's decision. But I tried to get a divorce for years and was turned down over and over and over again. I never legally got married. I only got spiritually married. Even though I was the first wife, we never legally did anything.
And men within the AUB do not want to get divorced. That's humiliation.
Yeah.
So they would just most likely abandon that wife, but still keep that spiritual marriage so that they can get into the top degree of heaven.
Yeah.
So they'll just do an abandon, quit going over there, quit visiting.
Yeah.
And stay with the favorite wife. So
it's true. It's very true. And so
they don't go in and say, hey, I'd like to officially divorce this person, because then they'd look bad in their community.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you want to have as many wives as possible. Like, it's just a notch on your belt. And so it doesn't matter how you treat her. And most of these men treat them like complete crap. Jody Lynn says Robin couldn't take her own kids for him to go. Yeah. And she couldn't take care of her own kids for him to be able to go. And that's really hard. That is really hard to watch that. The bad parenting part. Somebody says, yeah, way funnier and way more beautiful. Amen. Yeah. John Bates Barlow was the first prophet of the FLDS. Yep. He was assigned by Lauren Woolley, right? I'm pretty sure I got that one right.
You know more of that stuff.
Well, Owen or Rulin was assigned by, he was assigned by
way
Woolley.
Funnier and beautiful.
Yeah. Somebody says he did it to himself. I absolutely agree. Funnier, smarter, and likely to be more successful. I agree. I mean, just look at their demeanor online on their shows, and look at their energy and their vibration. The other three women are thriving, and every tell-all is just sad and depressing when you're talking to Cody and victimy. So it's hard to watch. I'm new here. Have you talked about why you divorced and left polygamy? So I actually got divorced. When I first got married, I didn't know my husband had a pretty severe pornography addiction. Well, in this religion, my ex-husband had a pretty severe pornography addiction, and that is a huge no-no in this religion. And then I didn't want to let him, we courted for a while, and I just didn't want to do it. It was too hard for me. And so I backed up a lot, and so I said no. And one day in church, we're standing on the stage, and Owen Allred was the previous prophet, and he was begging me, please, please, please. And I lost it and actually started yelling at him on the stage. I'm like, what do you want me to do? And I was pregnant at 18 with my second child. And so yeah, he said, I know, sweetheart, this is so hard. She's just my choice for you. I want you to marry her. And I just said, then fine, we have to wait till after the baby's born. I'm not doing this while I'm pregnant. And so I decided to back up. And then when my little girl was, 1.5, 2 years old, she was sitting on the floor. And the prophet, just before my dad, was looking at her really grossly. And I just decided I didn't want that lifestyle for her. And so I decided I was going to leave completely. And then my ex-husband's pornography turned into hotel rooms and turned into prostitutions. And I just decided that...
Allegedly,
yeah.
In his defense, he just had multiple wives on paper.
Yeah. He thought that lifestyle was okay. I didn't think that it was okay. I had to go get fully panel tested for every kind of STD you could think of. So yeah, that was super fun, and I still couldn't
get. So that answers the last question about it. Is there STDs?
Yeah, the STD question, and I still couldn't get a release from the priesthood. And here's why I say the AUB makes up their own rules as they go along, and it depends on who you are, and it depends on your last name, and I will forever stand by that.
Well, the third one is how much tithing.
And how much I was getting to that one, because my ex-husband made a lot of money, and he paid a lot of tithing. And he was in the back pocket of the prophet, and they didn't want to give me a release for that reason. And so I had to beg, plead, and finally I just was like, Christine, I'm walking away. I don't need a release. This doesn't mean anything to me. And so I ended up just walking away, and I ended up finally getting a release, but I had to be extremely aggressive to get it.
Yeah, she's going through a divorce too.
Yeah. Janelle's and Christine's daughters look just like them. Their genes are strong. They are, huh? They're beautiful girls. Yeah, I was a daughter chaperone for my dad too. Okay, I don't know. They might be talking back and forth. Why would Cody bother to show up for Garrison's funeral after the way he treated Garrison? We're not even going to touch that subject because it's such a touchy subject right now, and there's so much polarization around that I know I totally appreciate the question, and I know why people want it. It's just not something that we're going to even go to. My heart was shattered in a million pieces the day I found out about that. I was I was so sad. Oh shoot, somebody just said I wanted to see that one and it jumped. Let's see. I can't grasp the concept of celebrating your husband getting another wife. Hard concept, right? Yeah. Somebody says, Christine. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you grasp that it is because we were raised going, this is the way that it's supposed to be, that we thought it was normal type thing. And it wasn't till you grow up and start to have oh, wait a minute, jealousy, different things like that you're like, start to question a lot of the stuff that we were just thought normal growing up as little kids.
Yeah, because you didn't know any better. And then the minute that you got out of it or saw something different and started questioning things, wait, that's not normal? So somebody says, did your ex remarry and stay a polygamist? No, he did not. He actually became a drug addict.
Well,
Allegedly.
He has been almost married multiple times. We're waiting for that day for him to find true happiness, but
we want him to find it.
The man still loves her so
I'm a big deal.
She's a big deal.
Really hard to get over.
So
okay. Ella says, do you think husbands in the AUB think it's their right to favor one wife or another? Absolutely, they do.
It's a right.
It's their right to favor one wife over another. What would you say?
Yeah, because
they're
this
in charge.
one's not being loyal, or you're not getting along with your sister wife the way you should be, or so yeah, he's the conductor or the priesthood leader or the one in charge who is creating, and he doesn't. I don't know. There's no jealousy there for him. And he's guiding everything and trying to get each one of the wives to what's the word that your mom's not right now in harmony.
Sorry,
with
Mom.
Her priesthood holder, young lady.
Oh, you just got scolded. You're not in harmony with your priesthood holder, young lady. He says, my mom is on here for anyone who is asking. And yes, my mom has recently separated from my dad. Finally, yay. And so, yeah. Where's those fireworks? Cody abandoned Mary. Is that normally what happens when a wife cannot have kids? Yeah.
Not only can't have kids, but is not in harmony with her priesthood holder, or a whole bunch of reasons that they give to justify not going and hanging out. Got the little check mark so that they can get into the celestial kingdom, and that's all really needs to be done. So
somebody says Christine's husband is a woolly, and I've read somewhere, and I don't know if this is true at all. I've read somewhere that he is a distant relative
of
Lauren Woolley, who any connection to the Barlow from the Housewives? Yes, her husband is connected to the Lisa Barlow of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Yeah, her husband is connected to the Barlow families. I just don't know all of them.
He's probably answering that in there.
Yeah, I can't grasp the concept of celebrating your husband. But she wants the other wives to say. Jodalyn says, but she wants. That's what she says. And the thing is, I'm assuming you're talking about Robin, and she wants the other wives to stay in the relationships.
Because that's what a good wife.
That's what a good wife is supposed to say and do. Yeah.
Even though they're going to talk shit behind the back.
Ooh, there's a swear word.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's okay.
Well, just because the young kids listen to what the parents say, and so if some kid's saying, I don't like Christine.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't come up with that on her own. She's listening to the mom or the dad talking crap on Christine.
Right.
And so, yeah. So she says all the pretty words, but her actions
are totally
pushed
different.
Everybody else.
And the thing is, we grew up with that. I have one other mother right now who is the most sweetest sister wife ever, and all she wants to do is love all her sister wives, but her actions are so completely polar opposite. Literally, my little brother died. My mom went out of town to celebrate his birthday, and she changed all the locks on my mom's house.
But she didn't mean to.
Because she's a good sister wife, and she just wants to be a good sister wife. And there's the sarcasm and cynicism. Like we do get some dark humor about this, but that's what they do. So in one breath, she says, "This is who I am, and this is what I want," but then her actions are totally say, "This is who I am, and this is what I really want." So it's not, her words are not in alignment. It's so dreadful that Robin did not insist Cody go with Isabel. I know. And that's another thing that she says on this last episode. Did Ari hanging on him stop him from going to another? And look how she got kind of snotty when she said it too. No, it didn't. And I wouldn't have let it. And I'm like, but is that true? I don't think that statement was true at all. Mm-hmm. And so,
are you questioning me?
Yeah. Somebody says Lynn Thompson. Yes, Lynn Thompson was the prophet before my dad. And was Christine's dad a prophet? Well, he was a prophet. I love the way you spelled that. Profit. He did do a prophet. Oh, she corrected herself right under. He was the original prophet founder of the AUB. Yeah. And
Christine's dad? No.
No, sorry, not Christine's dad.
Her
Christine's grandfather. So Christine's dad's dad was the one. Sorry about that. Yeah. Rulin was murdered in 1977 by Orville LeBaron members. Yep, he was. And so
Daughters of a
Cult on Hulu. You can check that out. Yeah, thank you for answering, and good for you for making a choice of following your own way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been hard. Like, it's not been easy, especially I was the very first one out of 350 grandchildren to get married in the polygamist group and the first one to leave. And that was hard. That was really hard, but I feel like it really paved the way and opened things up for a lot of other people to leave. And my mom had 11 children. I'm the oldest. Not one of her kids have left that way, but have lived that way. But they have now, like, the permission to do that, where I didn't. Like, it was an unspoken, you have to do this. There's no way that you're not living this way. And so it was really hard to take that stand and say, I'm not doing this. It was really hard to take off my garments and leave the church. Mm-hmm. And the shunning that I got, especially from the closest family members, was really difficult to go through. I cried all the time, questioned all the time, but I couldn't make my little girl go through that. So I had to leave. There was just nothing.
I had it easier. The people that I was shunned by, I didn't give a crap about. Mm-hmm. They were people that shunned me when I was in the group. So in AUB, my family, all my siblings didn't shun me. I was still cool to them. So
yeah.
So I had it easy going out. I got a diploma.
You graduated high school?
Yeah, diploma from the AUB saying that I was written out of the book of the Lamb of God or something. Did. So
yeah, Cory was kicked out.
A piece of paper saying never come back. So
yeah, Cory was.
I cherish it.
Somebody says, is the LeBaron group still active? I believe they are. Yeah, what do you know about them? So I'm friends with a couple of LeBarons. We play poker together ever so often. We haven't in a couple of years, but is Christine's mom from that group? From what I understand, she is. I don't know.
LeBarons?
She is. Her mom's a LeBaron. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Who? Oh no, punk rock polygamist. Don't start that again.
What?
Who you know? It's a joke, which we can't tell inside jokes without explaining them. We were asking punk rock polygamist, everyone go follow him if you can, on a live one, on one of his lives, how do you become a current prophet? And his response was,
it's who you know.
It's who you know and who you blow. Thank you for answering all of our questions. Do you believe in the different levels of heaven? No.
Does the AUB? Absolutely.
Absolutely, AUB does, but we don't subscribe to that belief.
So I'm excited because I'm going to show up there.
They're going to be so pissed that you showed up.
Ticked.
What? How did he get this ticket?
Get here? And I'm like, on these coattails.
Oh my gosh. Christine's parents seem like good people, and her dad, he is, and her dad is an amazing dad. Christine got really lucky, and her mom is amazing too. How many kids how did you get the kids away? They disowned their kids when y'all divorced. That was the only thing. I filed for a legal divorce because in the state of Utah, we have what's called common law marriage, where you can file for a divorce if you have children together, you've lived, like, certain criteria has to be met. And of course I met all that criteria. So I filed for a legal divorce, and it was the only thing I fought for was full legal custody of the kids. And it took 18 months, almost 2 years for me to be able to get fully divorced. And I was awarded that by the state. So, how did you get, so why is it, okay, Ella, who is one of our subscribers, thank you, Ella, says, let me go back here. Oh, darn it, I skipped. Let me go back. Yeah, so getting legal custody is not as hard as people want to make it sound if you're in Utah. So Ella says, why did the AUB discourage legal marriages now? So when you are a member, okay, we'll give you like what we believe and then our sarcastic version of what we believe.
What the AUB believes and then what we believe.
And what we believe. So
The real story is.
when you are a member of the AUB, you're taught to consecrate all of your earthly belongings to the church. That means your home. That means any, like your 401k, your IRAs, any investment assets. When you pass, all of that goes back into the church coffers.
Because you're building up the church of God.
Thank you, Chief Officer.
Here on this earth. Thank you.
Yeah. And so if you have a wayward wife and wayward children, Mom, he's looking at you. If you have a wayward wife and wayward children, they don't want your assets getting into the wrong people's hands. They want it to be able to go back into the church.
To the AUB.
To the AUB. And so for me, I feel like it's a financial, they're doing it to protect their finances because they don't want wayward wives and wayward children to get a hold of any of the assets. Even though these women have worked their entire lives and to put money into their entire family, they're still not entitled to have anything because the man is the only person who's entitled to have everything.
So that's the sarcastic version. Now tell what the AUB's version is.
How is the AUB's version?
No, the AUB version is the Lord came down and told them that it'd probably be a good idea not to...
Now that's the sarcastic version. Even. That's the sarcastic version.
No
right now.
one wife should be above the others with a marriage license.
Yeah, well, and to me, that's not why they're doing it. They're not saying one wife should not be above the other with a marriage license. They're doing it to protect financial assets. Does the church not prepare the wives for jealousy, lack of time, lack of resources? Yeah. I mean, we go to young women's class and you're taught how to be a good wife, how to be a good, how to be a good sister wife. You're taught all of these things. It doesn't make it any easier when the man that you're being intimate with walks off with another woman to be intimate with her.
And they're usually like Nikki on Big Love, where they're like, I don't subscribe to that jealousy. She's just being jealous right now, because I'm way better. On
Big Love.
I'm way better than these other new jealous wives. So.
Do the kids in the AUB go to public school, or do they have their own schools like the FLDS and the Kingstons? They have both.
Half and half,
yeah, it's about half and half. I went to public school.
I went to private plig school.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's horribly sad. Mary didn't have it easy the whole time. She didn't have it easy. And the way, and I understand maybe where some of the kids have issues. I understand that, but man, that's a horrible and sad way to live. So happy for your mom to find her true worth. Me too. Thanks. I really want my mom to, what?
I'm sorry for shaming you.
Yeah, Cory says, sorry for shaming you, Mom. For each of you, question for each of you, what was the first forbidden thing you did when you left?
I got kicked out because I was doing all the forbidden things before I left.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, Cory got kicked out for a lot of naughty things. And I drank for the first time at 26. And this guy over here got me drunk for the first time at 26 years old.
She was smack talking, so.
I left for good. I left when I was 22, almost 23-ish. And then I had a sick baby. Thank you. Thanks, punk rock. And then I had a sick baby, and I thought that God was punishing me for leaving. So I went back to the polygamist group for 2 years. And I didn't leave for good until I was almost 26. So, and then I started dating Cory. I was 25, I guess, and I started dating Cory when I was close to 26.
I feel like the kid off of Goonies, man. I've got a list. I mean, when I was 11, I said the F word for the first time, felt so empowered. Drink some of the parents' cover your ears blackberry brandy when I was a kid. It was
medicinal.
Yeah, I did all sorts of naughty things that were against the teachings. So, and smoked when I was a kid too. So,
man,
I was a heathen child.
You were everything that my parents didn't want me to get around.
Yeah, exactly.
Question: do the sister wives ever fool around with each other? Not that I'm aware of.
They hate each other. Sorry. No.
Not that I'm aware of. No, that would be.
Yeah, that would be another show. Growing up in the community or the family that I grew up in, 9 wives and 1 dad. No, I don't think any of the
Yeah,
mothers
they don't like each
they
other
don't
enough
like
to do
each
anything
other.
with each
Yeah.
other.
They can hardly get along with each other from day to day.
What did your dad say when she changed the locks? He didn't say anything. He didn't do anything about it. He said it was a misunderstanding. And yeah, what did your dad say when she changed locks? So he literally didn't say anything.
Is that your stalker?
Oh yeah, probably. Let's see. Why become a sister wife just to be mean to the others? I'll never understand that. Because it's the only way you can get into heaven. And so you are so brainwashed and so conditioned into believing this is the only way that you're going to make it back to God, that you will tolerate and you will be mean to other people, and you'll allow other people to be mean to you, because that's the only way that God will acknowledge you, is by being mean to other people. That was not a very good explanation, but literally that's why.
Hey, crystal meth balls.
Stop.
It's either your ex-husband or your stalker.
Yeah, right. And then she puts a sign on the fridge saying, ask before eating. I know. I have an issue with that one. It seems like she would rather be the only wife, so why would she come into a relationship that, yeah, it does feel like she wants to be the only wife.
Again, her words and her actions are two different
Are not in
things.
alignment with each other. They don't align. Red flag with Robin earlier was her taking over 3 wives who had actually lived polygamy. Yeah, it was her talking over the 3 wives who had actually lived polygamy for years. Amen. So it says red flag with Robin early on was she was talking over the other 3 wives who actually had lived polygamy. And she acted like she was the only one who knew how to live polygamy. She gives answers as if she's very well versed on the subject and she had never lived it before. Yes, she was raised in it by her bio dad, and her stepdad were both polygamists, but she had never lived that way. And she talked over the top of them all the time, like she had a better understanding. Let's see, ex-AUB kid here, listened to the conference recently. It broke into hives in a rage a bit. Oh yeah, AUB has what's called conference, and where they celebrate the revelation of the AUB forming, and that was last weekend. And so yeah, I'll bet. Honestly, I listen to a couple things here and there, and I get PTSD hard.
I'm not allowed to listen.
Yeah. Melinda says, I've been reading about that. The LeBaron family scares me. Yeah. It was, honestly, we didn't know all of the details about the LeBaron family, and we're playing poker one night and everyone's joking and they're like, your prophet killed our prophet. And I mean, there was, yeah. And afterwards we were like, when we learned a little bit more, we were like, maybe that wasn't so funny.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And being written out of their book might be
Yeah.
a good thing. It sounds more like a hit list down there.
Yeah.
So.
Will your mom continue to live polygamy? No, I don't think so. I think she's mom.
Maybe she does.
I don't know, Mom. Do you have a hot boyfriend out there somewhere we don't know about? And so, I mean, she just turned 70. I think she's pretty happy where she's at. After their scary,
She's reached the pinnacle of polygamy.
yeah,
Her husband is the prophet.
she could be a ticket wife. Let's see. These are scary, but after watching Amanda Ray, I've heard about Amanda Ray. I haven't watched it yet. The Kingstons scare me so much more. I would honestly agree with that comment. Let's see. Mary saying she doesn't give a flying rat's ass made me giggle. I live for her finding her voice. Me too. I am so proud of her. I am so proud of her because, okay, that just tells you how dishonest they had to be over the several other years. How when they were doing their one-on-ones, they couldn't be completely honest about what was happening because it would piss other people off in the family. So they had to be careful. They had to, they had to sketch what they say. Do the regular Mormons do the garments and stuff? Yep, they do. The difference with the AUB garments versus the Mormon garments, from my understanding, now I've never worn Mormon garments. I've never been through the Mormon temple, but just my understanding is the AUB tried to keep the original design and the original temple ceremony. Did you two leave the cult before meeting and getting married to each other? Yeah.
I was gone well before I ever got married, and she was the first one that I started dating and, well, married. So
my best friend was married to his brother, and she brought him on a boating trip with him, and that's how I got to know him. And so then we decided that once I got divorced, I asked him out. So he didn't think that he could date me because I was married. I'm like, no, I just left my husband. So I think the OG were better at polygamy than Robin. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Their family,
They
honestly.
were committed to each other. They'd been together for a long time. So.
And the AUB was so worried about being exposed. And I'm having a conversation with my dad, and I was just like, Dad, but if anybody could show, like, that, I mean, polygamy doesn't work, in my opinion, but if anyone could show the best side of polygamy, it would be the Browns. And that went to hell in a handbasket real freaking quick. Have a nice day.
Oh, who said that?
Your sister.
Thanks, sister.
Punk rock polygamist. Oh, hello, my friend.
Amen.
Yeah. I say that all the time. See you on the other side. Yeah, LOL. I wonder how Cody and Robin claim their religion if Cody doesn't believe in it anymore. I don't think they do. I think it was a mutual parting of ways. The AUB was just as happy to see them go as they were happy to leave. Let's see. Then it jumped again. I want to make sure that I get to all of our subscribers' questions. Do girls share guys too, or is it just the guys that share the wives? Just the guys that share the wives. Yeah, the women are the only ones that can have children. So, is Cody as stuck up as he appears on the show? I would say yes. So,
Okay. I deleted my brain. So.
Mary brought her into the family on purpose to shake it up. Could be. I've heard that. I've heard that's true. I honestly don't know that, but it could be. Do a lot of the elderly wives end up alone? They do. Yeah, and they do have a house out. They do have a house that they will help to take care of the widowed and the divorced women. And so a lot of the younger women will go in there and they'll rotate through to help these women out. So yes, it's very common. Mary brought Robin into the family to make Janelle and Christine jealous. I don't know for sure if that's why, but
Yeah, they're probably looking at me.
yeah.
So.
No, why is no one talking about the fact that Mary is the one that brought Robin into the family and my understanding is they met probably at a polygamist party. And so that was my understanding.
They all had temple recommend so they could get in together. So.
Yeah. Somebody said, yeah. And Robin is the only one of knowledge of divorce. Janelle has been divorced too. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I think is funny is she did talk over the wives a lot. And she did tend to know a lot. And I think it goes back to like people who never have children are the best parents until they have children. Mm-hmm. People who've never lived polygamy are the best polygamous wives until they actually have to live that way. I don't know if you've been asked, have you watched Cody's nephew, King Benjamin? Yeah, I'm actually friends with him. And he has, we were actually just chatting. Was Robin's idea that the wives would be best friends unusual? No, I've seen some wives who are very like they get along really well. And there's always going to be the hardships. There's always going to be the jealousies and the upsets. That's just part of the religion. There's just no way around that. But I have seen some families get along really well, and some of the wives get along really well.
I haven't.
Somebody says, I guess I'll sleep better now knowing that I won't see Robin up in heaven. Oh, jeez. Let's see. Love the cheeky sense of humor.
If you see me, you'll probably see her there.
Yeah.
So it might be a little warm.
Yeah. Somebody says, love the cheeky sense of humor. Thank you. So alcohol is permitted medicinally. No, it's not. But
yes, it is.
It is used frequently for medicinal purposes.
Heck yeah.
But is it a part of?
And
no.
I'm still using it medicinally.
I know, right? That whiskey just clears up a
Katie,
sore throat.
earmuffs.
Yeah. So no, there are a lot of women or a lot of people in the AUB. A lot of it is if you don't know what your neighbor's doing, mind your own business type thing, and they can do whatever they want. What? What'd you say?
I don't know. There's a lot of
I know.
conversation.
A lot of FLDS went to public school until the year 2000. Yep. A lot of I went to school with a lot of them.
She's not FLDS though.
No, not from the FLDS. I mean, I went to school with a lot of the FLDS kids. Let's see. Let me just get to a couple more of your questions here. Mary Brown brought her into the family. Do the girls have, let's see. Sorry, I'm going to get down here to the bottom. I hate it when it skips like that. Then I miss all these questions. And we got another 100 people. So let me just introduce myself again really quick. So I'm born and raised in the AUB, Apostolic United Brethern polygamous group here in Utah. My dad's the current prophet. And I was married once in the AUB and then divorced. and then graced this man with my life.
And I was born in the AUB also. My lineage isn't as prestigious as hers. I think they're pretty cool. They didn't shun me, and I left when I became an adult and have never been a polygamist outside in adulthood. So I just grew up as a little polygamous kid.
Yeah.
But
And now we just talk about our experiences that we've had growing up in the religion, but we have never lived polygamy ourselves.
Yep.
So I left before I ever became a polygamous wife, and then Cory never did. And so no, I've never been. What was Robin's deal with "I'll treat Cody as my best customer"? I don't know, but I think that's one of the single worst lines I've ever heard on reality TV. To treat that if you are a sister wife, then all your sister wife should treat their husband as their best customer. I don't understand that comment at all. It's one of the worst comments I think I've ever heard on TV.
I do, because one of your personalities treats me better than the other one.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I'm laughing so hard I'm kicking the stand.
Okay, what about the Dargers? Functional family. I've loved the Dargers. I mean, they still have whatever, it's still a polygamous relationship. It's still tricky, I guess. But the Dargers have been an amazing group. I worked with them for years. I grew up with two of his wives. They're amazing. I don't have anything. Joe has always been one of my favorite people. He's just a good man, Joe Darger. I don't know much about the religion, but have you heard about the soaking? I didn't think that was real.
Religion.
That's the Mormons and the Mormons, but I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard about it. It sounds a little sketchy to me. But if you are we were talking about this today. If you're the kind of person that has to find loopholes in everything so that you don't feel guilty about your actions, you probably are not that great of moral character in my mind, but I could be wrong. I don't know much. Okay, let's see. If you're in the right family, you can do whatever you want. That's true. In the AUB, they make up their rules as they go along. And as long as you have the right last name, or you're paying a good amount of tithing, or you are, then you can do whatever you want. And I will stand by that till the day I die. Let's see. I really appreciate that you guys are so open and doing these lives. I always learn so much. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. We've had so many people register. These lives have been so supportive, and we really do appreciate it. It still really bothers me that a man's estate could go to the church. It should go to his family. It does, and it's super infuriating to me too.
Well, because the church is his family.
Yeah.
And his family should stay loyal to the church, and then they'll get a piece of that.
And his hope is that when he dies and consecrates everything to the church, that the church will then take care of his family for him if needs be. Oh my gosh, thank you, Chief Officer. Thank you. I know, we're so excited it's Friday. And so it doesn't surprise me that this is some of the new teachings. And like I said, I wasn't at church. I didn't hear this personally. This is just a rumor that was told to me. But I'm not surprised by it at all if they're counseling everyone to not be legally married. Mary did it to hurt Janelle and Christine. She got exactly what she wanted. Oh, I don't know. I don't know that Mary has a hard heart like that. I've always really loved Mary. Let's see. They should call this the Salt Lake City Soakers. Oh my gosh. That's the name of our new hockey team, the Salt Lake City Soakers. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. But you guys are totally out of it. Yes. Yep. Cory was kicked out. They're like, get out of here.
The papers to prove
Don't
it.
even come back. And I left when I was young too. We both left in our 20s. So we haven't had anything to do it. The AUB wouldn't let me join because I have a tattoo. Oh, that's funny. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by that at all. As a teen, I went to the compound in Gooding, Idaho. I didn't know it at the time. Oh, I didn't know that there was a compound in Idaho. Yeah, that might be a different branch or different. Oh, she says, what group would have been in Gooding? I don't know. It probably was more of an independent community. Let's see. Please don't put up so much pressure on yourselves with the questions. Comments move so fast. You're doing great. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I want to make sure that we get to all of our subscribers' questions for sure. And then it looks like we might have lost our moderators. They were at work and trying to help us out. I was wondering when Dad came home, were the kids truly fearful? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was terrified every time my dad came home. But it depended on the family. Some of the wives, he never spanked their children or anything because that wife didn't allow it. I saw that. And so yeah, I was pretty terrified every single time.
Subscribe there and we'll give you some listens.
Yeah, were all the children supposed to shun Christine for leaving Cody like Rex and his kids shunned her mom. So that was so hard. I didn't understand. I was pretty young when Christine's mom left, and I didn't understand that. She was amazing, and I always loved her. And I believe that she was shunned because she went to therapy. And now that's, and I don't know for sure. But I now that that's a lot more common, I don't know. But I think that is a huge portion of where Cody feels the less loyalty is because they were supposed to shun her, and they didn't. They chose her. And that is really hard for a man who's supposed to be the center, the be all, the center of the family, the God portion of the family, to no longer be that, and to know that his children chose someone else over him. That's where a lot of his anger comes from, in my opinion. Y'all sound romantic, LOL, bottom of the barrel, married royalty. You're welcome, babe.
That's right.
That's so funny. He wasn't the bottom of the barrel. I didn't think that at all. I was absolutely in love with him. The Dargers are great. They really are. I love the Dargers. I worked with them for years, and they were wonderful. Let's see. How many wives does your dad have? Thank you, Big Maggie. That's so nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So my dad has had 8 total, and he's had 2 die. Right? 2 die and 2 divorce him, so he's got 4 right now that are active.
Your dad?
Yeah. And I know you want to say a smart ass comment towards my mom right here, huh? Let's see. Me too. I'm so interested. It's wild to me to learn about the other ways of life. Yeah, it is. It's definitely a different way to live. That's for sure. Someone says, what about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu's? Thoughts about how that comes to be? We watched it. We laughed our butts off because I know way too many people that are exactly as they were portrayed. Thank you so much, Tiffany. That's so, so yeah, to me, it seems very accurate for a portion of the people who live in the church. That's not everybody. Just like you'll see these reality shows about polygamy. That's not everyone. That's not how everyone lives. Does your family accept you even though you are out? For the most part, yeah. Yeah. I would say both of our families do.
Mine definitely does. So yeah, absolutely.
If anything, more of it was starting this podcast. That's what made people.
And my family still loves me. So
my family does too. They're on here too. What the heck? Christine didn't want to move into the one house and become the bottom wife. What is that? So a lot of times there's a hierarchy inside the church. There's a hierarchy inside society, and then you micro it down to a church, and then you micro it down to a family. And in the AUB there's what's known as a basement wife, and she's not as good as the other wives. She doesn't deserve as much as the other wives, or whatever you want to call it. Nobody wants to live in the basement of a house. And so
Grogiminium? What's it?
Barnuminium.
Barnuminium?
Yeah, barnuminium. And so that's one of the things that when you are not the favorite wife, you get stuck in a basement, and it's hard. It's hard on a lot of these women because they don't get to have the equality of the property, and it becomes then the upstairs wife. It becomes her house when the neighbors come over or anyone. She's known as the wife.
Unless you grew up in Pinesdale, Montana, and we didn't have air conditioning, and the only cool place in the house was the basement, and then the favorite kids got put in the basement.
Then you wanted to live in the basement. Yeah. I really like Mary. There's a lot we do not know, having not walked in her shoes. I absolutely agree. I think Mary got kind of a bad rap, but I also understand where those kids are coming from too. But I think Mary got edited. What beliefs or values or practice did you keep from your upbringing, if any? We really, I feel like we really changed a lot of everything that we've kept. Our value for family. That's one thing that AUB says, that they value family, but all the actions are contrary to that. I feel like we have really tried with our children to create that sense of family so that they know that we always have their back. What do you think?
Yeah, in every in every teaching that we were taught, there was so much dogma around the middle or the thread of truth within it. And so how to be kind to each other, love one another. There's so many of those practices, and getting together and playing games and all of the camaraderie that we kept and brought in, and then we tried to get rid of the negative, anything that was surrounded with shame or anger and all of that stuff. Not saying that we've been perfect, but if we were sad or lost my train of thought. Keep going.
Why is it that Christine and Janelle do not speak to Mary if she's such a good person? You know, in this polygamist group, if you have any sort of opinion, you can be called aggressive. It can be very hard to live who you are and be truthful. You're always walking on eggshells. If there's a wife who doesn't walk on those eggshells, she can be known as aggressive, abusive, whatever. I don't know what's happened between those families, so I can't really answer that. But I definitely think that I would have been known as that aggressive wife, because if you have an opinion that contradicts someone else's, that's why it's been so interesting to me to watch some of the tell-alls and see the way those older three OG get walked over. Sonny, thank you so much, Sonny. You're one of our subscribers. Is that why Cody says he was kicked out of the club he got kicked out of? Yeah, because he should be the center of it. It should all wrap around him.
He built that club, and now he's getting kicked out, but he really didn't. The ladies built the club. Yeah. So
the ladies Janelle and Christine definitely built the foundation, and that's what I feel like in our family too. Yeah. My mom built the foundation of the family, and so a lot of the kids will gravitate to that mother that was the most nurturing, that was the kindest, that was the most genuine, that genuinely wanted to love those children. And the children will naturally gravitate to that mother. And that's where my mom comes into play.
Thanks, Sonny.
Not a good track. Yeah. For me, Cody has become very scary, narcissistic, yet paranoid, bad combo. Having lived through an experience with a very similar man, it is a very scary combination. Let's see. Would your dad marry again at his age? He just did. He just barely did get remarried. A year ago? I think it's been a year now. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, my sister answered that. Was one of your moms the basement wife, like Christine talks about? Both of our moms were the basement wives. That broke my heart. Yeah, my mom was the basement wife for sure. My mom was the help, and she was the shit on wife for sure. Sorry, Mom. I know you can hear me, but it's true. So
we had, it was not the basement. It was more like the
because yours was like
a single wide trailer wife. So
were you a double wide wife, or were you a single wife trailer? Yeah. So and eventually you did get a house in Montana, and half the house was underground, and the other half was like you just walked out. So it wasn't like an actual basement. But yeah, my mom was very much the basement wife. And so, okay, Deborah Sweet. Thank you so much, Deborah. You're a subscriber. Hello, everyone. Hope all is well. Thank you. We appreciate that. And Lizzie Tish, you are so amazing. We absolutely love you and appreciate all your support. Let's see. Cody wanted Mary to live in the garage on the property. Yeah, that was really funny. He's been going on.
Barndominium. It's a beautiful place.
We're in real estate.
I'll put all the first wives that you don't associate with more than once a year.
Yeah, he wants to use some marketing around barndominium. How old are your children? My oldest is 32. Our oldest, I guess, is 32, and our baby is 17. No longer a baby anymore. He's a big kid. So,
such a big kid.
Yeah. Right? And he's the last man standing. So our daughter at 22 just moved out. And so, oh yay, somebody just pinned that. Is your ex a polygamist currently? No. Nope, he left the group when I left the group. When I took off my garments and left, he felt like he said he failed in not keeping me in a line, keeping me in line. And so he did. Why did your dad counsel the Browns to stop the show? Did he foresee their breakup? Oh, I can't see that whole thing. I hate it when it does that.
I don't think he was speaking to the Lord at that moment, but
Oh gosh.
oh, sorry.
No. So he used to be
Probably.
he used to be the counselor to the Browns. He was the media specialist. So if anybody needed to talk to the AUB, then yeah, and they just didn't want the AUB to be exposed. Is Cody the typical AUB male? 100%, in my opinion. Now there are a few exceptions of good guys.
He's one of many. She should do a whole thing on husbands.
Oh my gosh, of the different types of husbands.
yeah,
I've done
she did
TikToks
one
on the
on-
different types of wives. Yeah, I should do one on the husbands. That would not, that'll get my blood boiling. Do a lot of plig families live off the system? Yeah. Live off the, I thought you meant off grid. I don't know that they live off the, I know, I totally misread that.
They're preppers.
Yeah, most of them are
No,
prepper. They live off grid.
off grid.
But no, I don't know that a ton of them all live off the system, but I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, usually on the system you have to put down your name and number and all of that stuff. If anything, they would probably live more off of the church's welfare system or stuff like that. There are some up in Pinesdale where I'm from. I'm sure there's some that
Yeah.
did that, but most of the time, no. They were hiding out from any federal.
They don't want the
They
government
don't
to
want
be
the government
involved.
to know anything about them, so they're hiding out. And
Yeah.
we had a huge farm and
Yeah.
traded with people up there, and so we had this huge commune of people all living off of the grid and not wanting anybody to know about them. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then my mom made a comment, just barely says, yeah, do one on the husbands. So maybe I will do that.
Thanks, Jenna.
Yeah. Jenna
Do
says,
they?
do the women write fake dads' names on the birth certificate? I don't think so.
Yes, they not necessarily.
It depends
fake.
on the family. This is what's
Yeah.
so hard is it depends on the family. My dad's on all of his children's birth certificates, as far as I'm aware.
So I had to have my birth certificate updated
Oh yeah.
because yes, my dad's full name was not on my.
That's true. I forgot about that.
My dad's German heritage name was written on my, so he was on there. He was just done in his German heritage, and so
Yeah.
I had to eventually change my name back to the English spelling that all of my siblings were
Yeah.
using. So yeah, I had a German spelling of my dad's name on there.
Yeah. So that's why he did, oh yeah. Okay. We have moderators back on. Will you guys make sure that we get all of the subscribers' questions? That's what I'm gonna make sure we get that. Do you think Mary will get her release from their marriage to Cody? Is it a really long process? Yeah, she already got her release and she was able to get it no problem, just based on the things that he said publicly.
They had to play 3 rounds of rock, paper, scissors, and she won. So she got her.
That's the process.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've never gone through it, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's so funny. Cory, yeah. Cory's little sister says she's so glad that she missed out on the trailer life. Yeah, they had a big house by the time she was born.
I lived in the trailer when I was young. It was awesome.
Yeah. Mary has so much unhealed trauma, she tends to bring a lot of emotions into a space. It's a traumatic way to be raised. It absolutely is. I mean, so all of the wives are, Robin's a huge example of unprocessed trauma. Danielle, the South Carolina realtor, says, hi. Hi, Danielle. Nice to see you. So moving to Flagstaff was a ploy to financially disrupt the family. One house plot to make Robin his favorite. I'm going to go with, I swear this woman plays a long game.
Well, yeah, and to be honest, they were living in one house up here. Robin wasn't.
Right.
But so then I think he was like, hey, let's do the one house thing again. And by that time, everybody's like, with her? No.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah. And so what are the requirements for the church to issue a release? That's a good question, because we'll go back to, again, the AUB makes up their own rules as they go along, and it depends on your last name, it depends on who you are, and it depends on your tithing amount that you pay. And so that's a very good question. I mean, I was trying to get a release for adultery, and it took me almost 2 years to get a release.
So last week, the rules were you had to win 3 rounds of rock, paper, scissors. So This week we don't know what the rules are to get done.
Oh my gosh. Mary's dad had 5 wives. Did all of them except Bonnie leave him? I didn't know he had 5 wives. I only know of 3 of them. And so, yeah, I believe so, that they all left him. Bonnie was the last one married
I
to
didn't
him.
know Mary's family.
Yeah, she didn't know. I knew her mom, Bonnie, and I loved Bonnie. She was one of my favorite people, and I knew her dad as well. Let's see. Growing up Mormon, they preach family, but family did not do each other right. I 100% agree with that. They preach all of this, that the family's the most important thing, and yet, man, let's see. It's always sad to see how the kids are ignored in this Fundy TLC family.
Yeah.
That's our number one complaint about this show, is watching how those children are so disregarded, and mostly by their father. And unfortunately, when I'm going through it with my dad right now. I mean, I've gone through it with my dad my entire life. It's always been this up and down, because I will say things to him that he does not like. And, but it's even worse right now. Since I started my podcast, it's gotten even worse. And so when I watch the show, it's hard. It's really hard. My heart goes out to those children.
That's why it's important to us, and I need to even get better at this when I'm invited to go do stuff with my kids, that I go and do it. I want to have a connection with them. No matter what, I need to be picking up the phone. So it is one of those things, we watch Sister Wives so that we can see, oh, this is what not to do. Okay, I need to pick up the phone and call each one of my kids, see how they're doing. So
Yeah. So
more of a lesson of
it
what
is
not to do.
That's what we've always said.
So-
We have learned exactly, like, how did we want to be loved as children? And that's how we try to love our children.
Yeah.
What would we want? What would we have wanted our parents to say to
this-
us in that moment?
Yeah.
And that's what we try to say to our kids. We're not perfect at it, but we have some pretty amazing children who I think adore us. Thank you, Mary. I'm so sad for the boys kicked out just for developing normally. Gabe's face is seared in my brain. Mine too. I mean, Cory was kicked out.
Yep.
And so it is. It's so hard to watch these kids. On escaping polygamies, man with 2 wives fled with his wives and kids.
Yeah.
We know that family, and that was so made for television. And I never want to discredit someone else's trauma or someone else's experience. I really don't. And if that's what they felt like they needed to do, thank you, Mary. You know, I don't want to discredit someone else's experience, but that was...
I escaped polygamy, but
I got in a car and drove away.
it was slow.
Yeah.
It seemed like slow motion for me.
Right.
So it was like loading the car up, getting it going. Yeah, I didn't know that was an option where somebody would have rented me a U-Haul to move me down here. So
Yeah, I think that they just wanted to leave and they got the show to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's my own opinion. But I don't know that
I don't
family.
know.
I know their parents. I don't know them personally, but I know their parents, and that's just not anything that would have been required of them to leave the AUB. They could have... Jen subscribed for the first time. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, that would not have been a requirement of them to leave the AUB. They literally could have just gotten in their car and drove away. How many siblings do you each have? I grew up with 4 mothers and 34 children. And my dad now has 8. At one point or another, has had 8 wives, and several of those have had other children that I don't really claim as siblings because I didn't grow up with them.
Hey, Katie, how come you haven't figured out those numbers for me?
Yeah, his sister's on here and he keeps telling her to figure that out. Oh, she says, mine and Cory's family has 27 siblings. For my dad, we claim more than that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of siblings that growing up, I didn't know that they weren't from my dad. So I've got older brothers and sisters that aren't from my dad that I claimed them as.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that they grew up in.
Yeah, and
their
that's why
family,
it was so unnecessary for him to legally adopt those children.
Yeah.
My dad was married to several women that had children. He never once married them legally to adopt their children. That was so unnecessary. Again, that's a long game in my opinion.
And they're still all my brothers and sisters. They still think I'm cool, and I'm their favorite little brother. So
Yeah, you're the oldest.
no, I've got
of the
older
other ones. I'm
brothers,
like,
yeah.
wait, you're the oldest.
I'm
Okay,
the oldest of my mom's kids.
I could only find Happy Valley documentary on YouTube. It was previous. Okay, thank you so much, Lizzie. We appreciate that. Yeah, so go check it out on YouTube. I wanted to get back to this one question. It was Robin wanted favorite. She played Mary for a top spot. Robin played Get Back Christine. Yeah. Robin wanted favorite. She played Mary for the top spot. Robin played Get Back to Christine. Used her daughter to get back to Christine. I mean, I don't know if it's just bad editing on this show, but do you think Robin is purposely isolating her children? Absolutely. Absolutely, she is.
She's telling them that they're isolated.
Yeah.
So that's her. Are you safe? I don't want my kids to feel unsafe.
Yeah.
They're saying, oh, you weren't. Well, did any of the other kids say that they weren't a part of the family? That weren't loved? No, that's. I feel like that's robbing, feeding them a line of crap to keep them victims within her little hub of things, and always taking care of Cody. He's their best dad ever. They're the best customer ever.
Yeah.
Whatever. You got to win first position. And so if the other family members don't like them or aren't coming in and inviting them to do stuff, then she's the number one in theirs and Cody's life. So.
Yeah. Yep. Cody's motto, no man is a total failure. He can always be used as a bad example. Well, he's given us a lot of examples then, hasn't he?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I literally could throw things at the TV watching him sometimes. Punk Rock Polygamist says 2 of Mary's moms married Lady A's dad. I wasn't going to bring that up, but since you did, yes, they did. And those were the 2. One of them I was actually really good friends with. And I went to Israel with her and we became really good friends. And so I did know Mary's other mothers. Yep. Didn't they say the adoption was to provide health insurance for Robin's son? I don't know. We haven't watched all the seasons.
Who had health insurance?
Yeah, who had health insurance? Is that something? Because did Cody have health insurance? I thought he was self-employed.
Yeah.
And so I think that might. Okay, so
Robin was self-employed. She could have got health insurance.
That could have, that's why my dad says that he got legally married. So my dad legally married a wife and didn't really inform any of the other wives. He did ask my mom. My mom said adamantly no. And he did it anyways. And my mom didn't know for several months after that he had married her. And he claimed it was for health insurance reasons. Do you think Robin just wanted the money and pretending the drama with Cody to keep? Oh, I hate it that we can't read the whole thing. I don't know. That's a hard way to get some money. And I don't know that they have a lot. I mean,
No.
The house looks but that's circumstantial. That house wouldn't have been worth what it is if it wasn't circumstantial to the area. And now is the house, what's it called when a house has a stigma? Yeah.
Possibly.
Is it stigmatized now because they lived there? This is the question I want to get to. Mary was older when she came into polygamy. So Sarah says Mary was older when she came into polygamy. That's why she had more of an opinion. Okay, she was 19. So if 19 is older.
She is older.
I believe she was 19 when she got married. And that's not really that old. But I understand that that's older compared to the rest of us, like me, 8 days into 17. So Robin reminds me of a victim of abandonment-ish person. Reality is she is harming others. She absolutely is. She's absolutely harming other people. And yeah, her bio dad was a piece of work.
Did you know him?
No, but you did. So she wanted to be the number one wife. I think that was her goal in life. Yeah.
Whatever.
No, Cory knew her bio dad personally. Their family did, very personally.
But he was just looking out for...
No, and absolutely Robin has a long game plan. I absolutely believe she does. I absolutely believe that. Okay, we're going to get back down here.
He was looking out what was best for the priesthood.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Cory's family had a pretty severe falling out with Robin's bio dad. So, yeah, it was a pretty bad situation. It broke my heart when Cody forgot Gabe's birthday. Well, yeah, you know what? All of us heard that one. I just turned 50 and my dad couldn't take the time to wish me happy birthday in any way, shape, or form. So
I wish you a happy birthday.
I know. Thanks. You want to be my dad? Jesus.
I'm your daddy.
Sorry. So inappropriate. This is a family show.
Sorry.
Do you think Janelle will get her money back when Cody sells if she gets the law involved. If she doesn't get the law involved, she won't see a penny. If she doesn't get an attorney involved and get the law involved, she won't see a penny. This is typically how it runs in polygamous situations because they feel so entitled to everything that that all the assets that came into the family, the men feel completely entitled to that. And so you literally have to get an attorney.
Because the women are out of sync or out of harmony.
Right.
And they are connected to, and so they must be full of demons or something like that. And so trying to take
the wayward wives.
Take money away from the one church, true church.
Yeah. Are they all being paid separately now, or does it for the show, or does it all go to Cody? We have no idea. We don't have anything, you know.
If they were smart, separately.
Yeah. Right. Robin wanted to show she played Mary for the Tops. Yep, I agree. We already answered that one. Wynn was a good man. He would have had Cody's bottom for what he's done right now. Yeah. I mean, I knew him and met him a few times, but
That's something I don't want in my brain.
But he's not somebody that I knew very well. I could only find oh yeah, thank you. We got that one.
Cody getting a spanking.
Yeah, no.
That sounds like one of those best customer.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like a best customer. Right. Okay, Mormonism in general. So many convert because polygamy is the original doctrine. I want your thoughts. Mormonism in general. So many convert because polygamy is the original doctrine. I want your thoughts. Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I wouldn't know that. We were born into it and taught it from childhood.
Yeah.
And so I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because I unconverted from polygamy because of polygamy.
He unread all of the doctrine.
Yep.
But no, I do think that is why so many people do convert back to Mormonism or from Mormonism to polygamy. I do agree with that.
Because of the original doctrine.
Yeah. Do you know Robin's ex? Was she lying about the ex and the awful things she said about him? I mean, we knew him growing up. We don't know him personally. Now, I think she did him dirty. That's all I mean.
Oh, you're using the line again.
I'm going to stick with that line because I feel like she did him dirty on national television. She complains, but then she doesn't let them go to family events. And it goes right back to the same, the words are not in alignment with the actions. When the show started, I so wanted to be a Brown. Now I see Cody for who he is. Yeah, it's kind of sad. And the unfortunate part about the whole thing is just this is not a very uncommon situation in polygamy. And that's the sad part about it. And once again, we'll go right back to the kids tend to be the collateral damage. And that's the disgusting part for us. Is it common for an AUB husband to blame the children's behavior on the mom like Cody did? Absolutely it is. They take zero accountability for where their children are. Bougie, thank you so much. They take, in my experience, at least especially with my own dad, he takes zero accountability for, it's like, well, her kids are like this because she didn't tell them. And I actually did a TikTok on this. And so, yeah, it's called Polygamous Men and Lack of Accountability, something like that. But yeah, it's very much that way. If she would have done what the husband requested, then the children would be perfect. And so it's her fault
still be
somehow.
A part of the AUB and be raised up properly in the AUB.
Yeah.
Some young lady didn't do that. None of her kids are part of the AUB anymore.
Mommy's talking to you. None of my mom's kids. My mom's watching, and none of her kids are part of the AUB.
I could have been talking to my mom too.
I think she thought they were going to have more money than they do. Well, I think it's just really because people just budget their money differently, and you must just budget your money differently than she does. I don't know.
The Rosie dances.
Do you remember the Rosie dances? Absolutely. So Rosie dances were polygamous kid dances that they were meant for the teenagers to be able to mingle, and they were held on the first Saturday first Friday of the month, Friday or Saturday, I can't remember. Yeah, I loved them and went to them religiously. Never missed one. It was just a good way for the youth to get together and have like a clean activity that we could do. Do you think Cody wanted his daughters and sons to become polygamists? I think when they started the show, they did. And now I think that they all have very, very different opinions of that. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I started having children, it was told to me in a blessing that I would have, are both of your mothers watching? Well, mine is for sure. I don't know if his is. I don't think she is, but yeah, I was given a blessing saying that I would have prophets and holy men come through me. And so, and so I 100% wanted my children to live that way when I was having children. Okay, so we are going to wrap up pretty soon. We'll probably take a couple more questions, like maybe another 15 minutes. But if I still have moderators on here, will you make sure that we answer all of the subscribers' questions? Deborah says, are they still being paid separately for now? Oh, nope, we already got to that question. No, I don't know that. Off topic, how do you get your fridge to shine like that? Oh, it's just the reflection of the window.
Off my head.
It's all, yeah. And we don't have any small children anymore. And so it only gets muggy and grimy when the grandbabies come over, which they do tend to come over often. Cory snicker, I know. And so, no, thank you. I know we're actually setting up a studio that we will be hopefully filming out of next week so that you don't have to look at our big spacious kitchen there.
Because we just lost a kid and she moved out, and so now we've got an extra
now we have an extra
studio room.
Yeah, now we have a spare bedroom. So when I was growing up, spare bedrooms were unheard of. Nobody had a spare bedroom. You had 3 to 4 kids per bedroom. Now we have 2 of them.
A spare bedroom in
rich.
our house meant there were 2 kids sleeping in there, and they both had a bed.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah. Is it common for fathers to cut off the contact with their adult children like Cody did? Absolutely, it's very common. I'm experiencing it right now, and my dad has done that to multiple of his children. And so it's very common, unfortunately. I wish that it wasn't, but it is very, very common, especially when you're old enough to support yourself. And whatever that interpretation is, whether it's financially, emotionally, wherever it is, then yeah, it's disgusting to watch these men. And especially I was so disgusted to watch when he was like, he's 18, get out. Monica says, how many
My dad called me all the time though when he was alive. Then he cut off communication about 8 years ago.
When he passed away. Oh my gosh. Yeah, his dad did call him regularly. But how many grandbabies do you have? We have 2 that are biological and 2 that we claim as grandbabies, so 4. We have 4 that we claim. Did Cody have a falling out with Robin's bio dad? I think everyone did. I don't know anyone that didn't.
I don't know if he knew him.
I don't know if he knew Robin's bio dad. I don't know.
Might have, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know that relation. Does Cody really dance like that? What you see is what you get. Yeah. That's not really normal at the polygamist dances. However, we did a lot of ballroom. We did a lot of like...
I watched Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
Man,
we were ballroom dancing kids.
Good dancing kid.
Yeah, you were not allowed to single dance like that or anything like that.
rock and roll type music. That was Elvis Presley.
That would not happen at a regular dance.
Elvis Presley moves, so he was a rebel.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it.
What percentage of kids born in the AUB stay and live polygamy versus leave? Would you, I can't read the rest of that comment, but I would say 10% stay.
That's 3 out of 46.
Yeah, I would say 10% stay and the rest leave. And so
that's less than 10%.
Yeah, I'd say even less than 10%. Yeah. I mean, or they like I did. You get married that way, and then you start to question things, and you start to go, "What the heck?" You know, I didn't question anything until I was 19, and I'd already been married for 2 years, already had 2 children, and so I never questioned anything until my dad became one of the leaders, and then I started to question, because I knew who this man was, and it was blowing my mind. And my dad's, I know I make him out to sound like a complete horrible person, and I really should be careful about that, because I don't think he's entirely means to be the way he is. Sometimes I think he just doesn't know any different. I don't know. Do you think Cody wanted his daughters and sons to be, oh, we already answered that one. She had negative 30K, so they still have more of what she came with. Well, that's true too. So, oh my God, Robin's budgeting made my eyes bug out of my head with her and Tony Burch. Yeah, everyone thought that, I think, when we watched that. So when we watched that, and the reason why I get so frustrated when I watch things like that is because I have had that experience with other mothers who are so like flippant with money, and they don't care. And then when my mom can't afford something, well, you just budget differently than I do. Well, you're the favorite wife and you were given more than I was given. And so it gets really infuriating to watch some of that. Did anyone else notice in last Cody and Mary was only entitled to 2 acres as she only had, yeah, I can't see the whole thing. I tried
Probably 1 kid.
Yeah. And honestly, I struggle with the whole concept that every wife deserves equal of everything, I personally struggle with that concept because my mom had 11 children. One of the other wives only had 3. There's a lot more mouths to feed with 11 than there is to feed with 3. I feel like, so I struggle with that concept that every wife deserves equal because they just don't. There's just no way to support that many kids. Is the AUB lifestyle as popular as it once was, as large or successful? No, I don't think it's as popular. I think, and I've said this in a couple TikToks, in the 60s and 70s, there was a whole like communal everywhere, wanted to be part of a community. There was a sense of belonging that was lacking. And so a lot of people went in and became a part of these different cults for that sense of belonging. And it was just something that, we'd just come out of wars, all sorts of stuff. So there was this peace era of people wanting to be a part of something and belong somewhere. And that's where cults started.
And they had a really charismatic leader.
The very charismatic leader, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Was your dad raised in the AUB? No, he converted into the AUB in the 70s. I was born in 74 and he converted, I want to say he was probably baptized in 70, 71, right around there. So again, like I said, most of these people converted in because they wanted that sense of belonging and they wanted the sense of community. And that's what these cults and religions provide.
Both my parents did too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so both of his parents converted in, both of my parents converted in. They were both born and raised Mormon. My dad married his first wife in the Mormon temple.
My dad wasn't born or raised Mormon. He joined the Mormon church after the military. But my mom was born and raised Mormon.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love the dark humor. Thank you. We tend to get sometimes we forget that we're on a live and we're just in the comfort of our own living room and we can say
bunch
things.
Of people are looking in the window.
Yeah, we should like maybe tone
awesome.
it down. I don't know. What do you think helped people wake up and leave the AUB? For me personally, it was when my dad became a leader, I started to question everything. And it took me 3 years to actually leave, 3 or 4 years to actually leave. And I think that's a lot. Like something will happen. And again, I will go back right to the statement, AUB makes up the rules as they go along. And it depends on who you are. And so if one thing is said and the next prophet comes in and now it's totally different than the last prophet said, like 2 prophets ago, I'll just give you an example. 2 prophets ago, they were absolutely adamant if you weren't having children, you were not to have intimate relationships with your partner. And so you do not share a marital bed if you are not having children. Now, fast forward 2 prophets, which is my dad. He believes it's none of their business. Stay out of the marital bed. It's none of your business. Stop
God
it.
changed his mind.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so really that's where a lot of people start to question things. So do y'all still talk to all the sister wives that you knew? I talked to a few of them, yeah. Yep, he doesn't. He only knew Robin growing up. She lived down the street from him.
I knew Christine. We played
Yeah.
volleyball. She sucked at it. Sorry, Christine.
Oh my gosh.
I was better. No, played volleyball when we were kids. I'd go over there with her older brother, and we'd play volleyball at their place. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I was a good volleyball player at the time. So
yeah. And I've reached out a couple times. So yeah, I still stay in a little bit of contact here and there. Does the AUB shun those who leave? Yeah, depends on who you are. It depends on, yes and no. Once he started dating me and we started getting together, my dad begged us to come back and told him that he could come back if he wanted to. And so I think it, again, just depends on how your last name. Yeah, she says Cory was not raised, or your sister says Cory's dad was not raised in it.
no.
And so what do you think? Oh, to help people wake up. Okay, what is the AUB? It's called the Apostolic United Brethern. It's a polygamist cult here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Rulon Jeffs married his first wife in the Mormon temple and divorced him when he wanted to live Yeah, I heard that too. Jenna, thank you. Yeah, divorced him when he wanted to live polygamy. I've heard that too. No, don't change. Everyone likes our dark humor. We do tend to get a little sarcastic sometimes. I feel like in any religion, you have to have a good sense of humor or you're just going to get lost in it. And then you become angry and bitter and then you spew shit all over national television that's just bad. How many branches does the AUB have? Well, they're not like a regular ancestry tree. They don't really have branches that goes more in a circle. No, I'm just kidding. No, there's Montana, there's Mexico, there's Salt Lake, Cedar City.
Are Canucks Canadians?
Yeah. Do they have, I don't know if they have any in Canada, but they could, yeah. So there's quite a few branches.
Oy.
Yeah, like the one in Mexico right now, they're rededicating the temple that they have down there. And so there's a bunch of people down there right now for that rededication of the temple. Yeah.
Quit yawning.
I know. Okay, let's see. It's about whiskey time, huh? Friday night, and we're about to go have a couple glasses of whiskey here. Somebody says, Cory, yeah. Sometimes you get, oh, shoot. I want to go back. Sometimes you get lucky and the whole family gets shunned together.
Yep.
Cory's sister says that. Yeah, Cory's sister. Yeah, sometimes you get lucky and the whole family gets shunned together. Unfortunately, oh yeah, Wyoming. Sarah says Wyoming. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about the Browns out there. Yeah, but yeah, sometimes whole families get shunned just because of their, like I said, the hierarchy of societies, and somebody's got to be on the bottom. Unfortunately. And is the show Big Love based off the AUB?
Bountiful, British Columbia.
Okay, yeah. So, thank you. Yeah, so the big
old brain here.
Is the show Big Love based off the AUB? So thank you, Punk Rock Polygamist. He is on here, and he reminded me, which I did confirm, that a guy named Brady Udall wrote a book, came and interviewed my dad and his family. And then he wrote an article called The Lonely Polygamist. And then their book was written, and then Big Love was written. Yeah, so it's loosely based off my dad. His first wife had cancer. My mom had cancer, owned a health food store. So yes. And so watching Big Love can honestly trigger a little bit of PTSD for me. When the very first season premiere came out, my dad was in a room with a bunch of reporters and all of his wives watching that first episode. And man, when that first sex scene came on, I would have paid anything to be a fly on the wall in that room. But yeah, is the AUB a branch that comes originally from Leroy Johnson's sect? Yes and no. They split. So the Johnsons went one way. So yeah, there's so many different splits that happen. It's hard to keep track of like which splits, but at one point, yes, they were together. From my understanding.
Yeah, Punk Rock would know that answer better. He's more of a historian.
Yeah, we're not. So. Yeah, Punk Rock Polygamist would know that one. Okay, Olivia, will you make sure that all of the subscribers' questions get answered? I don't understand Janelle not wanting a release from somebody she basically despises. Yeah, I mean,
too much
I don't.
Work.
Yeah.
Having to go back, especially if you're not going to plan on getting remarried within that group.
Yeah.
Why go through the headache and the
shaming process?
You've left. Why go? You left. You're living your own life. She'd probably, which it sounds like she might be doing, is rather lawyer up and get things taken care of legally.
Yeah. Oh, so, I hope she gets an attorney so bad. Yeah. You guys would like The Sound of Gravel by Ruth Warner. She's a daughter of Joe LeBaron. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. Let's see. I want to make sure.
Is it a book, movie?
Oh, it looked like it was. Oh, yeah. Is that a book? You guys would like The Sound of Gravel by Ruth? I think it's a book. It sounds like a book. Okay. Let's see. The Messy Misses, I think, were a break off from the LDS. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think they were too. Sometimes you want to make sure we're going to wrap up here in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
You guys have been so. There's a forensic accountant out there offering her services for free to Janelle. Oh my gosh, please, Janelle, take that. Thank you, Sonny. Awesome. Yeah, I did not know that. But yeah, and like I said, we're starting to watch Big Love again, so we're gonna have a lot more information about that. This week we didn't get to watch it because our daughter moved out, and we just had a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so we haven't been able to do that, but next week we will be back on Monday to talk about the next episode of Sister Wives. And then we will be back next Friday for another live, Thursday or Friday, kind of depending, schedule wise. But I will always create an event and put it in my bio, so you can always register. We get dozens of people that register. It's crazy. But yeah, you can always register for the event, and then if you want to, and then it will drop a reminder in your calendar if you choose to do that. And so yeah, that's I've been doing that too, just to keep it in my just to keep it in my calendar. But also we are trying to get the subscriptions just so that we can make sure that we get your guys' questions. So if you have any questions that we didn't answer or that you want answered, please, feel free to, if you are a subscriber, please feel free to email me anything that you might want. Yeah, Robin playing the victim in all of this makes me roll my eyes. Yeah. There's a lot of
careful eye rolling around this family is can get you in trouble.
Yeah. So yeah, we really appreciate all the support you guys have given us. If you haven't, I have a link in my bio that has my link tree. Please go subscribe to my YouTube. I always upload all of these to YouTube when we're finished, unedited. I just upload them exactly how they happened. So if you have if you want to go back and rewatch anything, please feel free to go and do that. Let's see. Go ahead.
I didn't know if one of the things is our daughter is since she's been able, we raised her pretty amazing, and she's out and a good entrepreneur. Sorry, can't even say that word. But she's got a little product called a Strolly.
Oh yeah.
We've got that in Melanie's link too.
Thank you, Hunter.
Yeah, if you guys are looking for an amazing product, we'll probably bring a little video out on how it works and everything like that. But that's our
daughter's company,
and she is amazing, and we've loved using that. We've been taking it to pick up our groceries, helped our other daughter move with it. It's an amazing product.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing a little video on that, or a little promotion on that. But if you want to see an amazing girl get out there and build some amazing products in this world, that's
it's called Strolly. Yeah, it's the only item I have in my like showcase. It's the only one.
But that's our daughter's.
That's our
She's
daughter's
awesome.
company. Yeah.
So
thank you,
and
guys.
we'd like to do a little show of how it works and put a video up here, but we're working on that because we're slow and old.
Yeah. And also thank you so much, Grandma Lo. Thank you. We appreciate sharing our lives with you, and we appreciate the questions. Next week, I think we're going to be right back here doing it again, but we appreciate it. We hope everyone has a great night, and please, if you are a subscriber, shoot me off any questions you might have. Really appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful night.